UAP are airborne objects that, when encountered, cannot be immediately identified. With regard to the importance of transparency, the Department is fully committed to the principle of openness and accountability to the American people.
We're going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Oh my gosh, dude.
U.S. Navy personnel recorded what appears to be triangles, some flashing. The video was taken through night vision goggles with a single lens reflex camera.
Well, I mean, it's a pretty high-profile incident. I don't claim to be an expert. You're the guys investigating it. I mean, who else is doing it?
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the show. This is UFO We Want to Know. This is April 13th, 2024. And I hope everybody enjoyed the solar eclipse this past couple of days ago. I have an interesting show today, and I want to begin by starting off by saying, before I do the show, that this is dedicated to those who have been ridiculed, dragged through the mud, and made fun of through the media for the last 76 plus years. It's very important for me to always say that particular area because so many people have been laughed at through the years, and it's no joke. The phenomenon is real. So let's get on with the first photo. Even though it's not a photo, it's basically it's the question that I'm asking. Did Eisenhower meet with ETs, extraterrestrials? Next photo. Did President Eisenhower have a close encounter? You know, so many people have talked about this particular area in history. On December 13, 1944, there was a press release acknowledging that UFOs are interacting with Allied planes called Foo Fighters. Now, this is during World War II. Not the beginning, not the end, but all through World War II. Next photo. Some of the Foo Fighters got close enough to cause engine malfunctions until they flew away. Sounds very familiar to today's encounters when our jets get close to an object and they seem to have some kind of interference, malfunction. I'm going to be going through this through the whole show, talking about this particular issue. Holloman Air Force Base was very interesting. Next photo. Of course, you all know what this is. This was the Battle of Los Angeles. But let's talk about Holloman real quick in 1955, where a lineman said that he was up in the pole and he actually witnessed a saucer at the end of the runway. And he said that he saw the president not wearing a hat. That's how he knew it was President Eisenhower at the time, walking to a UFO. This is information that you can look at in the internet. There's a lot of information on it. Believe what you will. I tend to believe it because there's a lot of witnesses, and I'll be going through that through the show. The Battle of Los Angeles, of course, happened in 1942. Kind of a problematic thing for the military. They shot 1,400 plus rounds at an object. And these white dots you're seeing around the craft were bouncing off of the craft. Those are rounds. I'm not exactly sure what rounds they were using. I know it wasn't a 105, but it was pretty close. It could have been ACAC guns they were using. These are shore batteries, weaponry that we had during World War II. We were already past Pearl Harbor, so we had shore batteries along the coast of California. And when this object flew over, they let loose with all of our artillery, shore battle artillery. Next photo. Take a look at this photo here, and this was it kind of enhanced from a gentleman who said that you can actually by decreasing the contrast, you can actually see an outline of what looks like a UFO. Now, if I was shooting 1,400 plus rounds, we're talking about steel, at an object, and it was bouncing off, I would not release a press release saying it was a weather balloon. Because if you can't shoot down a weather balloon with 1,400 rounds, then you've got a real problem. That's one heck of a weather balloon. Next photo. There are a lot of classified documents that you could get in the internet. They've been unclassified, declassified, so you can get them anytime you want. I didn't have to download because they're all over the internet and they're all over these television specials, and I simply just took them. Now you can see the dates, 1944, and this is from the Special Committee on Non-Terrestrial Science and Technology. That should grab you right there. This is 1944, and they're talking about non-terrestrial science and technology. That tells you an awful lot, doesn't it? Next photo. Now, on these documents, there are titles and there are numbers that you can actually follow if you're a person of interest when you're looking at documentation. And it's kind of like a book. By taking certain numbers off a document, it goes to other documents, and it's like if you want to go further and further down the line, to go higher and higher until it stops as far as documentation is concerned, you can keep doing that. Next photo. Now, ladies and gentlemen, they took a cert out of each of these documents, and here, Atomic Secrets learned from study of celestial devices. That is plain and clear information right there. Celestial devices. What does that mean to you? Well, it certainly doesn't mean that they are talking about anything else but something that came from say, interstellar space, another planet, and it's their devices. And what they're doing is they're learning. This is 1942, February 27, 1942, and they were learning stuff back then. Those people are dead and gone. So can you imagine how many secrets we've already concluded at this date? I mean, for the government to continue telling us there's nothing there, there's nothing to see, there's no crash retrievals. This right here is proof positive. They're talking about atomic secrets learned from studies of celestial devices. Keep that in your mind. Next photo. Atomic secret, a great significance towards the development of a super weapon of war. Now, that tells you an awful lot right there. They're talking about the atomic bomb. Now, whether or not they got this from a crash saucer, and that there was some kind of mechanism in there that would get them closer to an actual weapon, the splitting the atom, that could have very well have happened. If you just look at this, the significance towards the development of a super weapon of war, that's a terrific sentence right there, because it tells you an awful lot. And I think the people at the congressional hearings, I think they should have taken documents just like this, because they cannot turn around and tell them, well, those documents are forged, because these were from the office of Franklin Delano Roosevelt. These are not documents that somebody just typed up. These are old documents, and they can be traced back to their origin. So for these people who make all these films, who have these documentaries, they need to use more and more of these documents, because they tell a story. They tell a story of a bygone era when we just were starting to learn about UFOs, interstellar objects, beings from other planets, other realms, other dimensions. We were just learning about craft flying next to our craft at that time. We're talking about World War II, and they were interfering with those craft. And on the next segment, I'm going to show you a couple of particular photos that prove the point. But getting back to this, there are literally thousands of documents just like this that have been declassified. And you can go to the internet and you can pull them up, because under the Freedom of Information Act, these are for the American public and actually the world to see. Because if we get somebody here from another country, they can get into our internet and they can see everything you're seeing today. So I would ask you to take the time and do this. Next photo. Non-terrestrials' know-how in atomic energy must be used in perfecting superweapons of war to effect the complete and defeat of Germany and Japan. Very telling. Take every advantage of such wonders that have come to us. That sentence, such weapons that have come to us. It wasn't given to them. These are crashed objects, saucers, flying saucers, UFOs, whatever you want to call them, that came to us. We didn't ask for them, they came to us. Now, in some areas of history, people have said, well, these craft were given to us. This was later on. This is during the 50s and 60s. I'm talking back in the 40s right here, 1944 specifically, February 22nd, 1944. The reality that our planet is not the only one harboring intelligent life in the universe. Ladies and gentlemen, this was written in 1944. Not 2024, but 1944. Think about it. I think that is so interesting, and for the government to continue on saying that there's nothing to see here, there's no data to prove anything, these are forged documents. These documents have been released, and they're there for you to see for yourself. It didn't take me more than a week to put this together. I hope that you stay with me for the next segment, because I'm going to show you some additional things that happened during World War II and where General Eisenhower came involved. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Joseph, the host and creator of UFO We Want to Know. Tune in every Saturday evening on KPVM Pahrump Channel 25.1 from 7 p.m. You'll see never-before-viewed videos and photos taken by myself, all over the world.
Thank you for watching. UFO We Want to Know, and remember, yes, they are out there.
Thank you for staying with us. Let's get on with the first photo. What are we seeing here, ladies and gentlemen? These are during World War II, and we're talking about between 1941 and 1945. This was your proverbial flying saucer. And these are actual photos here, ladies and gentlemen. Actual photos. Next photo. What do you see here? In your mind, what do you see? Do you see a saucer being thrown up in the air? Because that's what they were saying. Next photo. That's the same flying saucer you saw in the two previous photos. And what you're seeing is a Messerschmitt Me-262, codenamed Swallow. During World War II, the Germans created the first jet fighters. And as you can see, this UFO is accompanying this fighter, this jet fighter. This is not an American jet. This is a Messerschmitt. So for those in government who say, well, those are fabricated, I don't think so. Look how grainy this picture is. This was taken with film, not digital, not the camera, the high resolution cameras we have today. This goes to show you that these are real photos. Look at the outline of the jet. Not very good resolution. And that's because, again, this was taken in film. You can't even see the pilot's face. Next photo. Now, the UFOs seem to be curious about the jets when the Germans first started flying the Messerschmitts. They were, I'm sure, surprised after seeing prop planes all over the skies during the war. This is, of course, later on during the war when the jets started to come out in the late 44s. I'm sure that the aliens were looking, says, well, look, they're making progress, no propellers. Next photo. Nonetheless, you're seeing a UFO seemingly going around this Messerschmitt, checking out the engine, checking out the fuselage, just seeing the difference from prop planes to what they're seeing in that particular time. But what happened in 1945? Next photo. That's right. The human race announced to the aliens, hey, we found the matches. And they ignited the first atomic bomb. Now, if we could have taken a picture from space like this is most likely what it would have looked like. Opening up a little hole in this world of ours, and I'm sure it grabbed the attention to intelligent beings from across the universe, unfortunately. Next photo. Now, Eisenhower was included in a lot of testimony, a lot of information. Now, don't forget, he was fighting a war in Europe, so he wasn't back in the States getting all this information together. But the information he did get together, he sent back to the States via secret transports, whatever it may have been. They didn't send anything to the mail. The military had its own way of distributing information, especially if it was top secret. And those dispatches were sent back to Washington, D.C. for further study. But General Eisenhower was in the know. He knew all about it, including during his presidency. He knew about it. How much he was told is, you have to speculate, I guess. I know he wasn't happy during his tenure as president. At the end of his time as president, he made several speeches against the American military establishment. He wasn't happy with the way it was going. And I know that they kept a lot of secrets from him, which he didn't like. Next photo. As you can see, today's modern jets are having the same issue that the jets from World War II, the Messerschmitt I was showing you, and also the prop planes. Next photo. As you got closer and closer, according to the pilots, they seemed to glow a little bit before setting off some kind of electromagnetic charge. The objects that were seen in Alaska and the Yucatan, the pilots said, F-22 pilots who saw the UFO said that they interfered with their sensors. Next photo. As it got closer and closer to them, this is most likely what happened. Pilots said they couldn't see any signs of propulsion systems. Their fire controls also were affected. How do you defend yourself against that? Next photo. Now, whether or not people want to believe that these are UFOs, they're alien craft, they're probes, most likely they did have ways of defending themselves. Unfortunately for certain pilots during the 40s, late 40s, there were some pilots trying to catch up to UFOs, and a couple of people have lost their lives. And like the Mantell case, I'm going to be getting into that in future dates, but I will be talking about him, and very heroic pilot of World War II who lost his life chasing a UFO. At that time they claimed it was a Venus, or he was chasing a high altitude balloon going Mach 2, Mach 3. Ridiculous. Whether or not you want to believe that they interfere with our software in the cone of the plane here, you see the very front of the jet here? That's where all the technical stuff is housed. It's a protective housing in case you get shot with bullets and all that. It's very much protective, but it doesn't matter to these alien craft. They can go beyond whatever we have as far as protection. Next photo. The fire control system in a lot of these jets that we had all the way from Iran to present date, you don't have to come through the cockpit. Whatever they're using as far as maybe electromagnetic propulsion systems that they're using on their ships, they could have some kind of a plasma form where it actually penetrates any solid matter, including titanium. We don't know what they have. I'm sure that some of the crash retrievals that we've found, I'm sure that we've seen their weapons and we've seen their defensive weapons, and I'm sure that we've applied them to what we're using today. Today we're actually experimenting with rail guns. We're talking about high-intensity weapons that make lasers seem like bullets. And in the future, we're going to see even more fantastic weapons that we can't even conceive of right now. Things that we see in the sky all the time, we take for granted. Next photo. Whether or not these electronic power sources that the alien crafts are using, there's no way that we're going to be able to defend ourselves. They bypass our systems in every way possible. In some cases, we feel that these are EMPs. They have no effect on living organisms, EMP that is. So I believe that the pilots are very well protected. If they are utilizing the EMPs against us, they do it in a way to tell the pilot, don't even think about it. You're going to fly, if you fly close to me, I'm going to disable your either your weaponry, I'm going to slow you down by not allowing you to catch up to me. And if they do, say for instance, if there is 2 or 3 jets, the aliens simply don't play with them. They just simply go straight up while the jets go flying by, something our jets cannot do. And this is their defensive posturing towards any pilot out there who thinks they can catch one of these craft at any given time. No matter how fast our jets are going, they're not going to catch these craft if they don't want to be caught. It's as simple as that. But if you realize on this particular picture here that you're saying that the electromagnetic charge that is put in into a cockpit, you can't see it. We're doing this for visualization here, but you won't be able to see what's happening to you. Now, there are some pilots who have actually said that they feel like there's a magnetic pulse inside their cockpit. They can feel a static of electricity. They can feel a buzz. They have a feeling as if they're not alone in the cockpit. Now, that in itself is a scary part. Of course, you know, if you've ever seen a jet fighter's cockpit, there's not that much room. The pilot takes up probably about 98% of the cockpit. In some cases, if you have a pilot that's 6'3", 6'4", he's going to take up a lot of space in a little area. His job is to fly the jet and be conscious of what he's doing at all given time. They don't put a big old chair in there so he can sit back and maybe close his eyes and take a 10-second snooze. It's not made for comfort. It's made for longevity. And if a pilot is sitting in a chair that's too comfortable, he's not going to be ready for whatever may happen to him. And in a lot of cases, if you look at testimonies of a lot of fighter pilots who have now come forward and have said that they had experiences that they'll never forget, primarily because as they did their training to become fighter pilots, they don't practice scenarios where they're going after a UFO. If there is such a program, they weren't told about it. But they said that you don't know until it actually happens to you. And most pilots said they never came forward with any kind of testimony because they knew that they would only go so far in their military service. The idea is to become a fighter pilot, serve your country, retire as high a rank as you can. The higher rank you are, the more money you get at retirement time. Common sense. And if you say that you saw a UFO or you had an experience, you're not going to go very far. And that makes a lot of sense, and I don't blame them one bit. But the ones that are coming out today, in their testimony, very, very important. I hope you stay with us for the next segment. Thank you. Thank you for staying with us. On this segment, we have 2 videos and 18 photos. So let's begin with videos. What you're seeing here, ladies and gentlemen, is a UFO. Now, I took this in slow motion, and we slowed it down 90% because it only took 1 second to go from the bottom to the top. So we had to slow it down so much that if you left it at slow motion, it would just be like a light flash going across the screen. So this goes to show you, take a look at this UFO, how it's progressing through our atmosphere. And it's leaving entrails there. Now, whenever I do a video, I don't call it chemtrails or contrails. I call them entrails because this is at the end of the craft itself. And this craft was really, really moving. And it wasn't going straight up. It was going across the sky. This particular one was going from east to west at the time I was taking it. But if you look at this, and we're going to play it a couple of times, take a look at the swagger. It doesn't go like a jet straight. It seems to be going from side to side, like wobbling. But this, ladies and gentlemen, is a UFO, an unidentified flying object, flying through Earth's atmosphere. That means our atmosphere. The air you breathe is where this craft is flying. Make no mistake about it. Don't let the government, don't let the scientists, don't let NASA, don't let SETI tell you they're still searching because they're already here. For crying out loud, I catch these every single day. And if those groups want any of this information here, it's free to the public. It's free to them. I don't keep anything to myself. If they ask for it, I'll give it to them freely so they can analyze it themselves. They have a lot better equipment than I have. After this, we'll go to the first photo. I'd like to talk about a couple of things. You know, how fast can plasma engines go? We know that we have plasma engines, and I've been doing some research on them. And some go as fast as 34 miles or 55 kilometers per second. That's how fast they can fly. Okay, what I did was I did a stop motion on it, and what I tried to do is I tried to get the best stop motion picture of the object so I can show you some pictures of what this craft looked like. Next photo. It seems to be getting larger and larger, isn't it? Next photo. As it gets larger, you can identify that this may not be a long object, but it's going so fast that you catch what you can with a, in my case, a phone camera. But if we had high resolution camera, you would have to have one that has maybe 300, 3,000 frames per second. And you can get better resolution. I tend to do things with my phone because I can. And it's not because I can't afford to go out and buy one. I do have some decent cameras, 4 and 5K, and they take decent photos and videos. But I like my phone camera because it's so easy to work with, and I can put shows together rather quickly. Next photo. And the next photo. That's the end result of that particular UFO. You couldn't get anything out of it. We're talking about a UFO that's flying extremely fast. And whether or not you have detail in it, This here could be my software making these little designs within this UFO. But you remember I was showing you on the video, it seemed to be swaggering left and right. Look at the nose of this craft. This is the last picture of it, I apologize, but look at the nose. It looks like it was starting to turn left, doesn't it? It was going left, right, but going straight up. And at the speed it was going, and I'm not going to be throwing mocks out there because I get too many people to say, well, I still don't understand how you can come to that number, so I'll leave it at that. But they were flying extremely fast. Now let's go to the next video. And what you're seeing here, ladies and gentlemen, is just a UFO over the tree line here. So it was flying very, very low. We had dense cloud cover at the time, but we're going to play this just once because this UFO was mostly stationary, and slowly by slowly, we were to speed this up, you'll see it rise. It started to go up, but it was wobbling like a plate. If you take a plate and you put your hand underneath it and you wobble it up or around, that's what this looked like. I used my times 40 viewfinder, and it looked like it was out of control. It was wobbling. And it was also sending off an electromagnetic charge. It was glowing all around. And when I was playing it very, very slowly, you can actually see the magnetic charge coming out of this craft. It was really interesting. And this is facing north, I would say northeast, and in my backyard when I videotaped this. Now, I wasn't looking at it, I was looking at the clouds, because when I do videos of clouds like this, you can see UFOs flying on this side of the clouds, and that's how I catch a lot of them. And they're usually dark like this. They're not light like the ones we see in the sun, where they're illuminated. After this, we'll go to the first photo, and I've got 12 photos, and there's actually 2 UFOs in this photo. The other one is in the upper right corner that's been cut off, right there. It was cut off because it was so fast that I didn't want to spend a lot of time. The arrow on the bottom is the one we're concentrating on first, and let's go to those pictures. Next one. You can see it. Next photo. Close-up of it. The reason why you're seeing it kind of like a U shape is because it was wobbling. Next photo. As we get closer in, you can see this is setting off an electromagnetic charge, some kind of maybe plasma charge. I keep saying that over and over, but I don't know what it is. Scientists are not going to tell us. Matter of fact, they don't even acknowledge they're here. Next photo. Now, take a look at this. I know that it's a phone camera. I understand that. I get past all that. But take a look at this object. It was cleared in the sky. You saw the video. The government keeps saying there's nothing there. There's no data on it. I got all the data they need. Just look at the video. Okay, next photo. And this is the last of it. And take a look at it. It was swirling so much, it was giving off this charge. Look all around this ship. It seemed to reverberate. But this is what happens when you get a craft from another world, another technology, not our technology. Next photo. This is the other one you couldn't see in the video because it was flying so fast, and it went up in the air. It only lasted about, I'd say, 2 seconds, and then it was gone. So I didn't spend too much time on it. What's interesting about this is I've been reading a lot about the astrophysicists who have taken up the UFO question. And let's go to the next photo. And astrophysicists try to understand the universe and its contents, including stars, planets, galaxies, and celestial objects, by applying the laws of human physics. Now, I threw the human word in there, but human physics, okay? I also, they also answer, would likely different, we're talking about aliens, they would likely differ from our matter here. Now, the subject in hand is not only our physics, but math, that they would most likely use the same math if they begin the same way with the same axiom. I believe all that is a bunch of BS. I I just don't believe that an astrophysicist can come out and talk like that. It's just asinine. Next photo. You can see this one here. As it was going up, it was shooting off from left to right. It was giving off this electromagnetic charge. Certainly aliens would observe the same physics as we do. Baloney. How they view and explain that physics would be extremely telling as to what they are like. And that's all a bunch of baloney. Believe me, if an alien race used our same physics and same mathematics, they wouldn't be able to get there to here. Simple as that. Illogical data is a type of data that is not relevant to the actual data. That is a quote taken from a professor that is realistic. And the reason why we say that is because our atmosphere is our atmosphere. It's not their atmosphere. Next photo. Earth's atmosphere is composed of about 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, and 0.9% argon, and there's a little bit of carbon dioxide in there in the mix. But I asked the question, next photo, I asked the question, if these beings, intelligent beings, say they're not carbon-based, but say silicon-based, what if we turned it around a little bit and said that maybe they're used to breathing 78% O2, oxygen, and 20.9% nitrogen, N2. And maybe if they were silicon-based, maybe that would be the answer to the question, we can't shake their hands, we can't touch them, we can't get too close to them. Because what? They emit radiation, or they emit some kind of chemical that is fatal to a carbon-based being. Now I'm getting into the area of what doctors would understand, and physicists and geologists, and I'm not any of those. But what I am saying is clear and concise. You have to open up your mind. They claim this and they claim this about the aliens, about they use our same physics, they use human physics, human mathematics. Baloney. They don't use them. It's simply ridiculous for them to say that. And is this the last photo? So, ladies and gentlemen, these craft are here, they're there, they're not going away, they're going to keep coming. And I caught two craft in this particular video right here. And again, they're saying that these craft are not here. When are they going to stop saying that? On our last segment, please stay with us because we got some exciting videos to show you. It's unbelievable what you're going to see. We'll be back after this message. Thank you for staying with us. I want to get right to the videos because we had a lot of information. Let's go to the first video. And we're going to play this just twice because we need to get through this because I have very limited time, as I just said. And you can see this one here is straight through our atmosphere like the others have done. And I know that a lot of people say, well, Joseph, it's interesting, but what's the point? You keep showing these ones going through the sun. Well, I'm trying to get to a point here in my videos to explain that these craft are flying every single day. And after this one loop here, we'll go to the first photo. There it is right there. This is the end of the video here. And what I want to make clear to people is that I don't show these videos just to bore you. I show them to show you that I get them every single day. Next photo. This is the object you were watching. Next photo. And the next photo. Take a look at this craft as we blow it up. We got one more. Let's go to that one. Take a look at this craft, ladies and gentlemen. This gives you an outline of what the craft may have looked like. But it was flying so fast, we had to slow it down. Get this. It was taken in slow motion, and we slowed it down 90%. That's how fast this thing was traveling. Next video. Ladies and gentlemen, I need to ask you a question. What do you think you're seeing here? And no, they're not birds, because this was taken in slow motion. And take a look at the motion of these UFOs, probes, whatever they are. I've taken something similar to this in Costa Rica back in 2019 and then 2020. I took something very similar to this in the clouds. And it seems like these, if some people call them critters, But if they are critters, if they are spacecraft, if they are some kind of probes, they're flying around over Pahrump, Nevada. And this was taken a week and a half ago. But take a look at this. These craft were flying in our atmosphere, make no mistake, because those are clouds up there. So they're on this side, which means what? They're in our breathable atmosphere. Isn't that interesting? Whatever these are, I'm calling them UFOs because they're not birds. If you look, they're leaving entrails. Some of them are making fantastic maneuvers. They come up to each other. They don't seem to touch, but they come really close. And I'm going to be concentrating on two particular ones. So we can go to that after this. If you think you know what these are, please write me at UFOWeWantToKnow@gmail.com. I would like to know what you think these are. Look how they maneuver. That's incredible. They're not gnats. I can guarantee you that because these were high in the sky. I couldn't see these when I was out there. I had quite a few people with me. We were looking up at the clouds, wondering if it was going to rain. This was during a festival here in Pahrump. Here we go. Now I'm concentrating on two particular objects. Let's go to the next photo. You can see other ones flying around, but I'm concentrating on the two that are real close together there. When they came close together, they were emitting, like I said, electromagnetic fields around them. Next photo. Get closer to them, and next photo. Take a look at these two objects, ladies and gentlemen. These are not birds. These are not gnats. These are not insects. These were some kind of flying craft. I believe this is the last photo. But take a look at these for yourself. This is the last photo here. Take a look at it for yourself. What do you think these are? Please write me at UFOWeWantToKnow@gmail.com and let me know what you think they are, because these were incredible acrobatics they were doing up there. They never hit each other. They came really, really close, but they seemed like magnets. When you get two magnets, reverse poles, when they come close together, they would pull away. Well, that's what these looked like they were doing. But there was a whole lot of them out there. Now, this last video we have for you, ladies and gentlemen, is something that I've never shown before. It's in the sun, but what you're going to see here is incredible. It's a fleet of UFOs. Let's show that video now. Now, we blew this up, so we cut a lot of the bottom out of it because the bulk of them were going through the top area, middle top area. And take a look. For 40 seconds, the UFOs are coming through the sun's rays here. They're in our atmosphere, of course, but there are a whole fleet of these UFOs coming through. And if you try to count them, you'll have to do stop motion, because I tried counting them, and when I got past 40, I stopped. But these craft were coming through continuously, and I'm glad I did it on slow motion and not super slow motion, because if I did it in super slow motion, I would have only got 17 seconds. By doing it in slow motion, I was able to get 50 seconds. But for 45 seconds, they were going through steadily. I would like to hear from you. Tell me what you think at UFOWeWantToKnow@gmail.com. But take a look at some of these craft were flying even faster than the others. They were zipping on by. You saw one near the bottom there, but there were several where were zipping over the top of the sun's area. And this was just an incredible video. I have 4 videos very similar to this one, but this was the best one. I didn't want to bore you with the same type of video over and over and over, so I put this one at the very end. But I thought this was really, really interesting. Imagine 45 seconds of a video of UFOs traversing through our atmosphere. It's incredible. So when you hear the congressional hearings, and you hear NASA, and you hear SETI, and you hear, we're still searching. Well, what are they searching for? It's not UFOs. It's not intelligent life, because they're right here. Back in the day when we were, before we landed on the moon, the astronauts were told, don't use any kitchen utensils, such as plates, saucers. Don't name anything like that. They wouldn't say the word UFO, but they told them, don't name kitchen utensils, and they named a couple of things like that. And so when we were going around the moon, the dark side of the moon, when we came from behind the moon, a radio transmission said, Houston, there is a Santa Claus. That's the code name that NASA told the astronauts to use. And in one case, one astronaut transmitted a very, very important sentence. He said, Houston, there is a big Santa Claus. Ladies and gentlemen, they're talking about large UFOs, large craft that they saw on the other side of the moon, the dark side. And I can tell you that a lot of these astronauts and other people who were in shuttles, as they get older, they got nothing to lose. They're ready to die. They're doing deathbed confessions, and they're not afraid to say things that they feel they need to leave to the people of Earth. It lays heavily on their conscience. After this, let's go to the first photo. And what I did was I picked one particular object out. It was going rather fast, and it took a long time for me to get one of these photos. And this is the one I got right here. He was flying extremely fast. I shouldn't say he, because I don't know. Next photo. You can see him going over. This was stop motion, the second one. Next photo. And here's the close-up of it. I have 3 more pictures that are closer than that. Next photo. Next photo. I started to get some crystallization, didn't I? But this object was flying from right to left, and it's funny because the left side is bigger than the right side. As far as aerodynamics is concerned, they don't need aerodynamics. And I believe this is the last photo. So, think about it for a minute. Aerodynamics, is it necessary for these craft? Absolutely not. And if I could have Mikey keep this picture on there for a minute so the people can take a look at this. This footage was taken on March 20th, 2024 at 1 p.m. exactly. 1 p.m. I was out there videotaping the sky. It was such a nice sunny day. Can any scientists please let the government officials that they suck up to keep their funding, can they please ask them if there is a Santa Claus and that they saw a lot of Santa Clauses on this show? Can they please do that for me? Tell the story about what NASA and the government told the astronauts about don't mention UFOs, instead report them back as Santa Claus. Please do that for me because I would really appreciate that. I do this for you. I do this for our taxpayers. I do this because I have a voice where a lot of people don't have a voice. And I make it a point to try to entertain at the same time. I don't know how many UFOs are traversing our atmosphere any given day, but I know there are literally thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of these craft all over the world. And whether it's a populated area or a desert area, I believe there's a lot of scientific things going around on our planet. But I'm sure that the intelligent beings are very concerned about what's going on Earth today. We have madmen right now creating wars, talking about nuclear weapons, threatening other countries not to intervene so they can take advantage of sovereign countries. It's not looking good for mankind. And if we're going to progress to the next level, we have to eliminate this kind of hatred. That ends the show for as far as UFOs. I'd like to make a public announcement, and I think this is so important for people who are animal lovers. I like to say that the Never Forgotten Animal Society is a very worthwhile organization. It's here in Pahrump. There are 4,500 animal adoptions over. They have had adoptions over the last 6 years, which is incredible. 4,500. The staff is all volunteers, all of them. Their mission is to reduce the killing of animals after their time. You can only have dogs and cats held for a certain amount of time, then they had to put them down, and that's it's sickening to think about, but that's what happens. The community can help by adopting or volunteering, donating, and shopping at their thrift store. It's called Make an Offer Shop on Dandelion across from Saddle West. Never Forgotten Animal Society is located at 3091 North David Street. You can also call them at 775-537-8674, and they're open from Monday through Saturday from 10 to 5. Ladies and gentlemen, it's something that's in my heart, so please do that. We'll see you next week, and thank you for joining me.